At 4 o'clock, when we came back on deck, the second mate told me to keep working on a ponch mat I was making, and he sent Tammy to get out his sinnet. I had the mat tied on the front side of the mainmast, between it and the back of the deckhouse. In a few minutes, Tammy brought his sinnet and yarns to the mast and tied them to one of the belaying pins. "What do you think it was, Jessup?" he asked suddenly after a short silence. I looked at him. "What do you think?" I replied. "I don't know what to think," he said, "but I feel like it's connected to everything else," and he nodded upward. "I've been thinking that too," I said. "Really?" he asked. "Yes," I said, and explained how I had thought during lunch that the strange shadowy men who came aboard might be from the blurry ship we had seen deep in the sea. "Good Lord," he said as he understood what I meant. Then he stood quietly, thinking. "You mean that's where they live?" he said at last, pausing again. "Well," I said, "I don't think it's a life like we'd understand it." He nodded uncertainly. "No," he said, and stayed quiet for a moment. Then he shared another idea that came to him. "So you think that ship has been with us for a while, and we just didn't realize it?" "From the start," I replied. "Ever since these strange things began." "What if there are more of them?" he said suddenly. I looked at him. "If there are," I said, "we'd better pray they don't find us. To be talking about, such things like they're real." "I've tried not to," I said. "I felt I'd go mad if I didn't stop thinking about it. Strange things happen at sea, sure, but this is different. It seems so unreal one moment." "Doesn't it?" he said. "Then the next moment you know it's real, and wonder how you didn't always know. Well, no one on land would ever believe it. They'd believe it if they were on this ship during the middle watch this morning." I said, "And besides," I added, "they don't understand. We didn't either. I'll never feel the same again when I read that a ship hasn't been heard from." Tammy stared at me. "I've heard old sailors talk about things," he said, "but I never took them seriously." I said, "I guess now we have no choice." "I wish to God we were home." "My God, me too," he said. We worked in silence for a while. Then he changed the topic. "Do you think they'll really shorten sail every night before it gets dark?" "Definitely," I said. "No one will go aloft at night after what's happened. But what if they ordered us up there?" He began. "Would you go?" I asked, cutting him off. "No," he said strongly. "Put away that mat and sinnet, you two," he said. "Then grab your brooms and clean up." "Aye, aye, sir," we said, and he walked forward. "Climb on the house, Tammy," I said, "and untie the other end of this rope, will you?" "All right," he said, and did it. When he came back, I asked him to help me roll up the mat, which was quite large. "I'll finish tying it up," I said. "You go put away your sinnet." "Wait a second," he replied, and grabbed a double handful of small rope scraps from the deck beneath where I'd been working. Then he ran to the side of the ship. "Hey," I said. "Come here," he cut in, speaking low, ignoring what I had just said. I stood up from the hatch where I'd been kneeling. He was staring over the side. "What's wrong?" I asked. "For God's sake, hurry," he said, and I ran and jumped onto the spar beside him. "Look," he said, pointing down with his handful of shakens, directly beneath us. Some of the scraps fell from his hand and disturbed the water for a moment, making it hard to see. But when the ripples cleared, I saw what he meant. "Two of them," he whispered, and something he whispered, "And there's another out there," and he pointed again. "There's one a little further back," I muttered. "Where?" "Where?" he asked. "There," I said, pointing. "That's four," he whispered. "Four of them." I said nothing and kept staring. They looked far down in the sea and completely still. Though their outlines were blurry and faint, it was clear they looked like ghostly images of ships. We watched silently for a few minutes. Finally, Tammy spoke. "They're real, all right," he said quietly. I don't know, I answered. I mean, we weren't imagining things this morning, he said. No, I replied. I never thought we were. Up forward, I heard the second mate coming back. He got closer and saw us. What now, you two? He shouted sharply. You're not cleaning up. I raised my hand to signal him not to shout and alert the rest of the goo. He came closer, asking quietly, What is it? With some irritation. I told him to look over the side. He jumped up next to me, understanding we found something, whispered, My God, and stared silently. I pointed to two more. He saw them, said nothing, and climbed down. Get off there, he ordered quickly. Grab your brooms, clean up, and say nothing. It may be nothing, though we knew it wasn't. He hurried away, likely to tell the captain. As Tammy said, I was lost in thought about the shadowy ships below. We grabbed brooms and returned. The second mate and captain passed us, talking quietly about the gear to hide their real purpose. They casually looked down, then went to the poop deck. The captain looked worried. Tammy and I wanted another look, but the sky's reflection hid everything. After cleaning, we went for tea. Quine said they planned to shorten sail before dark, which Jaskett and Plummer confirmed, hearing it from the doctor and steward. Suddenly, a call to shorten sail came with the mate's whistle. Plummer stood, saying they wouldn't lose more men. We went on deck in calm weather and furled several sails. While stowing the foresail, I watched the sunset and saw a mist rise far on the starboard bow. It thickened and shaped into three towers, with a long shape below, a huge ship turning toward us, growing larger but less clear. As the sun set, the ship faded into dusk. The second mate called me down from the rigging, and I felt dizzy and scared. Later, after roll call, I took the wheel. My mind was blank at first. Then I noticed the sea's deep silence, no wind, quiet gear, and shaded lanterns to protect the officers' eyes. The night was dark, but my thoughts stayed on that strange mist ship moving toward us, making me feel that something terrible was about to happen. 2 bells passed, then 3, and everything stayed strangely quiet. I kept thinking about the misty ship I'd seen in the west, and the 4 shadowy boats lying under our port side. Each time I remembered them, I felt grateful for the lanterns on the main deck, and wondered why none were in the mizzen rigging. I decided to tell the second mate when he came aft. He was leaning over the poop railing, not smoking. There was no glow from his pipe. I could tell he was uneasy. He had gone down to the deck 3 times, likely to check if those 4 boats were still visible. I wondered if they could even be seen at night. Suddenly, 3 bells rang, making me jump. They sounded so close. The night felt unnaturally strange. As the second mate replied, "All's well to the lookout." A loud whirring sound came from the port side near the mainmast, followed by a parrel shrieking. I realized someone or something had released the main topsail halyards. Something broke above, and the topsail yard crashed as it fell. The second mate yelled something unclear and ran down the ladder. I heard shouting and running from the deck crew. Then came the skipper's voice from the saloon doorway. "Get some more lamps," he shouted, then cursed and added something else, ending with "Paul carried away." "No, sir," replied the second mate. "I don't think so." There was a brief moment of confusion. Then I heard the capstan being worked as they took the halyards in. I caught the captain asking, "All this water?" and the second mate replying, "Can't say, sir." Then followed only mechanical sounds, the poles, parrel, and running gear. I felt a sudden cold breath on my back. I turned and saw something peeking over the taffrail. Its eyes glowed in the binnacle light, fierce and animal-like, but I couldn't clearly see the rest. Frozen for a second, I suddenly grabbed the binnacle lamp and pointed it toward the thing. It had moved forward, but shrank away from the light with a disturbing motion, sliding back and disappearing. All I saw was something wet, shiny, and two terrible eyes. I panicked and ran toward the break of the poop, missed a step on the ladder, and fell hard. I still held the lamp. The crew was putting away the capstan bars, but when I crashed down with a shout, a few jumped back in fear before realizing what had happened. From the forward part of the ship, the captain and second mate came running toward me. "What the devil's up now?" sung out the second, stopping and bending to stare at me. "What's to do?" "That's, you're away from the wheel?" "Damnation!" shouted the second mate angrily. "Get back to the wheel." I hesitated and tried to explain. "Do you damned well hear me?" he sung out. "Yes, sir, but," I began. "Get up onto the poop, Jessup," he said. I meant to explain when he came up. At the top of the ladder, I stopped. I was not going back alone to that wheel. Down below, I heard the old man speaking. "What on earth is it now, Mr. Tulipson?" he was saying. The second mate made no immediate reply but turned to the men who were evidently crowding near. "That will do, men," he said somewhat sharply. I heard the watch start to go forward. There came a mutter of talk from them. Then the second mate answered the old man. He could not have known that I was near enough to overhear him. "It's Jessup, sir. He must have seen something, but we mustn't frighten the crowd more than need be." "No." They turned and came up the ladder, and I ran back a few steps as far as the skylight. I heard the old man speak as they came up. "How is it there are no lamps, Mr. Tulipson?" he said in a surprised tone. "I thought there would be no need up here, sir," the second mate replied. Then he added something about saving oil. "Better have them, I think," I heard the skipper say. "Very good, sir," answered the second, and sung out to the timekeeper to bring up a couple of lamps. Then the two of them walked aft to where I stood by the skylight. "What are you doing away from the wheel?" asked the old man in a stern voice. I had collected my wits somewhat by now. "I won't go, sir, till there's a light," I said. The skipper stamped his foot angrily, but the second mate stepped forward. Come, come, Jessup," he exclaimed. "This won't do, you know. You'd better get back to the wheel without further bother." "Wait a minute," said the skipper. At this juncture, "What objection have you to going back to the wheel?" he asked. "I saw something," I said. "It was climbing over the taffrail, sir." "Ah," he said, interrupting me with a quick gesture. Then, abruptly, "Sit down." "Sit down. You're all in a shake, man." I flopped down onto the skylight seat, so that the light from it went dancing here and there across the deck. "Now," he went on, the timekeeper brought up the lights and lashed one up on the sheer pole in each rigging. "Shove one under the spanker boom," the old man sung out, as the boy finished lashing up the other two. "Be smart, now." "Aye, aye, sir," said the prentice, and hurried off. "Now then," remarked the skipper, when this had been done, "you needn't be afraid to go back to the wheel. There's a light over the stern. You are." "Thank you, sir," I said, and walked to the back of the ship. I put the lamp back in the binnacle and took the wheel again, but I kept looking over my shoulder. I was very relieved when, a few minutes later, 4 bells rang and someone came to take my place. The others were in the forecastle, but I didn't go there. I didn't want to be asked about why I had suddenly appeared at the bottom of the poop ladder. Instead, I lit my pipe and walked around the main deck. I didn't feel very scared, since now there were 2 lanterns in each rigging and a couple more on top of the spare topmasts near the bulwarks. Still, shortly after 5 bells, I thought I saw a shadowy face looking over the rail, just behind the 4 lanyards. I quickly grabbed a lantern from the spar and pointed it at the spot, but there was nothing there. Still, I felt a strange sense, more in my mind than my eyes, of wet, watching eyes. Later, when I thought about it, the feeling made me feel sick. I realized then just how cool those eyes had looked. No, they were unreadable, mysterious. Once again, during that same watch, something similar happened, but this time it disappeared before I could even grab a light. Then 8 bells rang, and it was finally time for us to go below.